All right, cool. Yeah, so tell me a bit about yourself.
So my name is Samantha, and I'm a recent college graduate for a couple months now. Well, yeah, a couple months now. And so I just been working with a bunch of different productions. I work in the entertainment field, so I do a lot of local production work in Florida, which is where I'm from. And I participate in both theatrics and television work. So currently, with the whole pandemic, production had to stop. But the good thing, that's for film, but for theater, I still have the capabilities of writing. So I write for a company called New City Players, and I send them scripts bi-weekly where we do a meeting and discuss scenes and discuss plays because they what they like to do is they like to do like a community pool thing of writers, and if they like your writing, they will continue to like give you prompts and stuff, and so bi-weekly you'll come up with new writing skills, and it's a way to like actively not only participate in theater but also it lets them have new material for their season, so that's kind of cool. um, and so I do that. I do a lot of writing for them. I also do writing for commercials for another production company that I worked for, and currently I work for NBC in Florida. So so yeah, that's I do a lot of writing. So obviously you could tell that I applied to be one of the writers for um, for the workshop
Awesome.
for the game. Mhm.
Very cool. Do you have a favorite play?
Do I have a
That's
favorite play?
probably a hard question.
Very hard, but a really good play. Ooh, anything written by Sarah Rule, fantastic. She has really good like feminist pieces.
Awesome.
Um, Moonlight was originally a play, so I really enjoy that too. And then it was adapted into a screenplay, so the play is really nice.
I need to freaking see that already.
It's really good.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I'm really cliche. I like Les Mis and yeah, I definitely I am really excited to actually be able to go back out to local theaters because right now it's I've been put on hold with everything that's going on. So yeah, crazy stuff.
I understand.
All right. So tell me a bit about your creative process.
So usually, when it comes to writing, the way that I like to do it is I go by feeling, motivation, inspiration, and so if I have a topic, I will write about whatever I feel can be associated with the topic. It's very abstract, and so I write. And after I write, I take a break, do something else, work out or something, and then I come back to it and I reread it. And then I start doing drafts and things like that. I read it out loud. I read it to a couple of writers also who are in the same organization that we're like, we're friends. We like to send each other our work. And some of them would be like, oh, this is cool. Did you get an inspiration through this? And they tend to be, the cool thing is that writers, in order to get better at our writing, we also have to do a lot of research. And so if you don't know a lot of things, you might miss like little key hints in writing. And so it's really cool to see how like an inspiration can just draw you to different connections that you started someplace but you end up in a whole different place, but it's a full circle, so it makes sense. And that's where like improv comes in, you know.
Mhm.
So I see kind of writing as similar to improv. You start with an idea, you write about it, and then it's like full circle and you end with like the first where you started, and it's like, oh wow, it worked. Yeah, cool.
Awesome. So, what do you think about the Monochrome RPG?
So I think it's actually very cool. I've never seen or heard anything like it before. I did do the demo and I watched some videos on YouTube, and so I really enjoy the animation, the art, the actual art, and the music. I also come from a musical background, so like music theory is a big thing. So like the battle music and the credit and the credit song is like really good. I really enjoy it. I think the dialogue is super cool. I love how a lot of the objects are personified, like they come to life, very similar to like old Walt Disney cartoons. Um, yeah, so I think it's really cool. I like how like it's uh, the game is based on like relationships, like it's an interactive experience focused on relationships between the performer and the audience, and
Mhm.
that's like never been really done in a game before. I feel like this game is geared to like performers. Um,
Yes.
so I think that's actually kind of cool, like the way that he has to like tell a joke, and like his jokes are sometimes like a pun. And so depending on the reaction, he gets power or not. And it's really cool because I've never seen that before. And you get to like pick the joke depending on like the time that you click it.
Mhm.
So I think that's cool.
Awesome. Yeah, we're really excited. I know, I'm not sure you might have seen it, but we're doing lots of newer builds of at least the battle system. And I think this most recent version, we've switched to like a more traditional RPG kind of battle mechanic, but we've gotten the previous joke system back into it. So along with that and like a more like melody focused kind of, I guess they're kind of called mini games in a sense. I'm really excited to really get further into that entertainer kind of vibe with the battles. That's I'm glad you like that. So, what do you think about the Monochrome workshop?
That the like the group chat, because you guys have like a lot of information. So
Yeah.
what, because I've been reading on it, but it's like, what exactly is the workshop?
So, so the Monochrome workshop, that is the kind of the Discord creative community that we have.
Oh,
We
okay,
also
okay,
have
great.
the Monochrome workshop lobby, which is what you're currently in.
Yeah.
So essentially, the lobby is kind of like the staging ground before we onboard people to work onto the project.
So I'm still maneuvering myself within the platform because I've never used Discord before.
Mhm.
But I read the announcements mostly. And so I think I like how like there's usernames and people can ask all these questions in like the question section. Like it's very much divided among what's important and what's coming up. I think I haven't read through everything. Like I said, mostly the announcements. The last statement was your guys' statement on the Black Lives Matter movement and all the protests that's been going on. Um, but I think the workshop like that actual app for communicating, I think it's like really useful.
Awesome. So, is there any information that we can provide to better inform you?
To better inform me. Um, no, I think because you guys, when there's like announcements and stuff, I have it like set up where, because right now you guys have the creative about
Yep.
sheet. So I I'm on that. I submitted for that, I believe.
Cool. Awesome.
Uh, I think I did, or I'm in the process of doing it. Because while you fill it out, there's like questions that ask like, um, what can you contribute? Like, what are some ideas that you have? And so I'm still like, I was writing them out, and so I was just like, because I know you guys are expanding on characters,
Mhm.
um, and so as the character expands, obviously the comedy will expand too.
Yep.
Um, and so like other than jokes, like there will be like perhaps like a small skit or things like that related to like the community of different talents. So if you have different talents, you're gonna have different things that are not just jokes, correct?
Yep. Yep. Totally.
Sweet. So you would have like people who are into improv, because vaudeville is basically like a big talent show. Everyone has
Yeah.
their own talent.
Yeah. We're kind of. I don't know if you play Pokemon. I actually have not played a lot of Pokemon, but we're kind of trying to take that typical game typing system. A lot of times it kind of boils down to rock paper scissors, but we're trying to extrapolate that, make it a little more dense, and applying it to different types of entertainment. So yeah, That is definitely important for us. So you're right on the spot.
Sweet. Yeah, that's what I was like. I think that's what they're trying to go for. So like things like skits, improv, long and short, having like a caller as like things get more difficult and you're battling other, you know, other performers or other styles of performance, uh, things like that, having part of the team. And then obviously the team that Otto is doing, like his acting troupe, having like someone from having each specialty would be cool too, because then you can have like a caller, which is like usually something that you would do when you're performing with a group of people. If someone's like drowning, you know, they're not doing that great, only your team knows, and that would be like the caller. And the caller can, you guys have like a word or a hand signal or some kind of thing that you create with your own troupe that no other troupe ever knows, where someone comes in and like helps you out. So I think that would be really cool. It's kind of like a tag team. Um,
No, that's an amazing idea. That's really cool, actually. I
yeah,
like
they're like called callers. So I was like, how did I?
Collar or just collar.
Yeah,
Oh,
Caller.
Call.
They're
Okay,
called callers.
awesome. Forgot how to spell collar there for a second.
So that's something that I was thinking. It kind of reminds me of like Pokemon, like the battling when they
Yeah,
would have to like switch each other out. But that's essentially what it is, and it's a real thing for performers too. And the cool thing is that you never know. And like I said, that can be taken from improv. And I watch because I write a lot. I like writing comedy. That's actually one of the things, and comedy has a formula, but sometimes comedy doesn't have to follow a formula, and that's where you get improv. So I like to watch a lot of things, and then I was like, what if they did something that relates to that? Because if he's creating an acting troupe, he doesn't want to have people that are exactly like him, because that
yep,
defeats the purpose. So if he had different people where obviously his, not that his skill is not as important and doesn't mean that he's not going to get the most appraisal from the audience, but sometimes you're gonna drown, and that,
yeah.
and performers know that you're not gonna be the same type of funny 2 nights in a row. So that would be something that would be super
Awesome.
cool to see.
Yeah, so generally speaking, just to give a little more info. So we're kind of trying to, just for simplicity's sake, we try to do two broad categories of comedy and tragedy. Um, that might be a bit broad. So there's a lot of grays in between, but for the most part, trying to extrapolate those to like, um, you know, oh gosh, yeah, just trying to extrapolate those to different forms of entertainment. So I think we're going to get a lot of permeations that kind of get into that. But I think the improv thing, it's kind of a new thought for me. So I really like that. That's awesome.
Awesome, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So what blogs or YouTube channels or websites or other brands that you follow that are similar to the RPG or the workshop?
So things that I follow that are similar to this,
Yeah.
nothing.
Okay, that's a good thing to hear.
No, like I don't follow anything that relates to this game, which is actually I think the best thing, because I haven't seen anything like it before. It does remind me, like I said in the beginning, it does remind me of old Disney cartoons when they were black and white, and like there was like Mickey whistling down, and so a lot of the personifying of the objects is really cool. But I don't follow anything that resembles this.
Gotcha. So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Very good question. In 5 years, well, I would hope within the 5 years, I already have published a few plays and a screenplay. I hope to be part of a team of writers for inclusivity in the Latinx community. I am Hispanic, but I was fortunate enough to be raised in the U.S. So definitely bringing more of those stories where it's like you have to have like this battle between like your culture and American culture, and the American culture Americanizing your ethnic culture. And
Mhm.
so I think, and like the whole comedy level of that within like 5 years, definitely become part of writers who are like me, and seeing more women writers in those writing groups would be
Mhm.
very cool. Sometimes I'm the only woman, or yeah, no, sometimes I'm the only woman. And the production that I was working on right now, I am the youngest one there. Everyone else is like middle age, married with children. And so definitely I would like to see more people my age become, get more inclusive in the entertainment world, but definitely be more involved in the industry, eventually calling the own shots like a producer, but screenplay, and still doing theater. That's my in 5 years. Yeah.
Very cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I think one of the most amazing things about this project is there's so many people from different parts of the world, so many people with different backgrounds. It's really cool to be able to get those new perspectives. So very cool stuff. So, what value do you see us providing towards your goals?
So you guys would let me learn about, it'll be like a whole new frontier for me to really understand the game development process and how you guys do character development compared to other mediums. Um, I think that's the coolest thing. It's like a whole new creative outlet that I think a lot of writers don't really think about. Like we think about books and plays and all these things, but I think rarely do people realize that gaming also has a character development and also needs writers too. And it's not, you don't have to be into sci-fi to be a writer for games. And I think that's something that should be brought up more. And I feel like that would be a whole new creative outlet for me to learn about the game development industry, but also learn how characterization changes and what works and what doesn't work. Um, and I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Awesome. So, what are your biggest challenges with the RPG or the workshop?
Um, I think just because the workshop, there's so much information about everything, and the questions. So the things that I see for like the questions, you don't know if a question's already asked because so many things are asked there that you really have to
Okay.
like read through and like scroll and see what like, okay, what's some like what what has been covered and wasn't, and what still has left to be discovered. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
we got a suggestion for an FAQ section the other day. I'm like, we have to do that. So that's a great point to bring up. Thank you.
that's
Any
why
other? Yep, go ahead.
mhm. um and I'm sure you have, I guess you used the announcement, the game info. You guys are updating it as you go, so that's cool. The rules, announcement, meeting summary. I think I was just, no, that's like your post meeting notes. Yeah, I read those too. Those are cool. Yeah, I think it's just the questions. I'm like, how do I ask something? It has my question already been asked, or what? And like, is the question section related to questions about the game, about the character, or is it just questions for everything? Like people in marketing, people that are interested in being writing, people like programmers. Like that's another thing too.
That's a good idea. Awesome.
So I was like, I don't know if that's inclusive for everyone, or would it be like separated into like people who are writers that can talk about the creative development of the characters that are coming up, and like have someone, be like, this is where we're at, and I don't know, like things like that. So it makes it a bit more organized, and that's the only thing that I was like, okay, let me read the chat, but I'm like, oh wait, there's a lot on the chat of questions. So
Good. So let me see something real quick. So I don't think you have the applicant role. So I'm gonna go ahead. So you said that you signed up for the creative out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Am I
let
not
me
there?
you didn't get the automated role, so let me make sure you get that. So I'm gonna message you two forms that you should fill out,
Okay.
just to get you going.
Let me see with it.
Second, gosh, one
Is it
second.
the creative bout?
Yeah, there should be a form in Creative Out, but there's also a form in roles that you should go to. So you see under info and help, there's a roles section. I would fill that out. Uh, that'll help you get the uh, um, the proper applicant role. And once you have that, you'll be able to go into the applicant channel. So there's an art applicant, a music applicant, a writing applicant, a teaching applicant.
Oh, I
So
did fill that out. I did fill that out because I put the writing and the music, and then I said that like I do music production.
oh, gotcha. Maybe
But if I need to fill it out again, I'll fill it out again. I those were like one of the things that were sent out in the email.
yeah, I guess I'm not easily able to view uh, your info, so I just wanted to, or your user name on here. So I just want to make sure that you got those roles so that you can see everything. Do you have those Discord roles? Just wondering.
Those Discord roles. Let me see. What are the names?
Yeah. So essentially, if you click on your name, if you can see your name on the right panel, um, there should be
My
you
name on
should
the
be able to.
right panel. My name is at the bottom left.
Okay, let's see here.
So
Do you have like a little green circle on your name?
yeah,
Okay, let me
there's a
see.
little green circle that says I'm online.
Give me a second. Okay.
Hmm.
Um,
My number is 8824. I don't know if that.
so I'm gonna go ahead and look in the creative out participants channel or the type form or the form that we have up. Give me one
It
second.
says creative bout and then the number 1.
Yep. Yeah, give me one second.
Okay. Oh, I see it. The writing submission, the main track.
Oh, not the main track. It's in roles, and then the sign up form is in Creative Out one. Let's see. All right. Loading up that form real quick. I just want to make sure I got your stuff. Let's see. Mm, mm. Sorry.
No, take your time.
That's what it is. Have you filled out? I'm gonna put this in the Zoom chat. So let's see if this looks familiar. So that's a form to a database that we use. Let me know if that looks familiar.
I just clicked on it. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
This is the creative. That's the character creative sheet. Yeah.
That's the sign up form for the actual like that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You can still do the submissions, but this will help give you the roles just so you can access. Basically, I want to get you access into the writing applicants channel just so you get kind of a go-to place to post anything about writing.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'll fill it out real quick.
Awesome. Yeah, once you fill that out, I'm going to go ahead and give you the roles. So you should see that stuff.
Okay, so after I submit for this.
All right, cool.
Do you guys have like a storyboard by any chance? Because I also checked the website, so I've seen like the origin of the story for Otto, but also I don't know if you guys have a storyboard of like the journey of him, or is that what you guys are essentially looking for?
So we largely already have kind of the broad storyline outline and the script up to kind of the outside of the current area that we actually have developed in the game. Let me see. Yeah, I guess we do not. We do have a narrative brief that I could definitely get uploaded onto the game info page. So I will make sure that gets up pretty soon. So I keep an eye out for that. I will probably make an announcement just so that resource is there. But yes, we do. Oh, yep. I see you just signed up. Awesome. Cool stuff. So now, one other, I think the form that you actually need to fill out to get the applicant role. You can do this. Did I post the same thing? Yeah, that's the exact same thing.
Okay.
There you go. All right. Yep. Second link.
Did you put it in the chat? Oh,
Yeah.
there it is. There it is. I see it.
Yeah. Hiding below the first one.
This is the one that's like a pre-interview. Is that the
Yeah.
one?
Yeah. Yep. That's it.
Okay, and this one is for, say that out again, please.
That's just for getting the actual applicant role. So that'll give you the ability to go into the writing applicants channel, which is a good spot to you can talk about like the writing track submissions. That's a really good spot.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so you can kind of tweak that whenever you want to. I'll make sure to check back in later just to make sure that the role got applied to you properly. It's a little finicky, but yeah, I guess I'm just going to go back to my next question. So, yeah, what can we do better to serve your needs?
What can I do better to serve my needs?
What can we do better?
To serve so in regards to writing, like I said, just being as transparent of what you're looking for.
Okay.
I know, I think that's really what it is. So that's why I asked about the storyboard, because then that'll help people who are writing for the character know where to go with it, like the storyline, the plot. Basically, any information that's given. Obviously, people who are writers, we have to do the research. So, like, vaudeville was a real thing during the 1920s, and like exactly what it was. And so, as you do research, you figure out more of how to contribute to the game while still making it more of a game and like less of a historical presence, but there's
Mhm.
still history in it.
Yep.
And I think just like transparency, I think it's the best. I feel like in the past, I've been part of writer groups and things like that. And so when people are like, oh, this is what we're looking for, you're going to get variations. Like no one's going to do the same thing. So like if you have 20 writers and you give them like, this is what you're looking for, you're going to get 20 different things that are associated with the thing that you requested. So I think, and that's where like trouble comes in because it's like, oh, that's not what we really looked for, and it's like, well, that's what you asked for, and that's what each writer did. So, I feel like the best transparency, the more examples that will of what you guys want for the game would help writers with the characters and the character development, and would help with the worlds that you guys are creating.
And then, how can we exceed your expectations?
See my expectations. Well, I think my expectations have been exceeded because you guys are the first gaming operative to ever make it a social thing, to ever actually incorporate people that are not part of like a company or a corporate to help develop the game. So I think right then and there, that's very different and very innovative, actually. So I think that's very cool. So I think my expectations have been exceeded in that point. Because I would have never be able to participate in something like this if you guys didn't have an open mind of letting other people into your gaming world.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for me on my questions. Are there any other questions that you have?
I just have one question about the game. I see that some objects are personified, but others aren't. What's the reason for that? Do you happen to have a reason? Like in the demo, some things are like moving and those things help. And then there's other furniture pieces that are not moving and they don't really serve a purpose. So it's like,
Mhm.
was that a choice? What's
It's definitely it's kind of a coin. So one side, we can't have everything animate just because there'd just be a lot of noise, and it'd just be a bit harder to track and plan around. And that kind of leads into the other side of the coin, which is budgetary reasons. So we're kind of on a pretty tight budget. So animated characters are pretty expensive just to develop and create the art for. So that's kind of the other side.
okay? And the other question I have is, how do you guys like see like what's the ending for the game? How do you essentially
Ooh.
have you guys figured that part yet? Like how do you beat the game?
So that's actually a very good question. So we actually we kind of had the traditional you're uncovering the real villain behind uh, the nefarious forces that are affecting vaudeville and just why bad things are happening and people are less happy and there's more uncertainty and other things like that. I can't say too much about it, but we're trying to, oh gosh, how do I it's so hard. Like, we don't want to spoil it at all, but
Capturing
we,
the bad guy, and you win.
not just capturing the bad guy. That's kind of the facade for the greater kind of narrative that we're trying to go for, I guess.
Okay.
Um, really kind of, I guess one thing I can say is the fact that so many different people are working on this, and it's kind of a cartoon world made up of lots of different styled characters that
Mm-hmm.
kind of lends itself to the narrative I'm not sure the proper term, kind of the mechanic that we want to employ. So yeah, essentially just kind of think of Roger Rabbit in a sense, but um, a bit more focused on the toon world in a sense. Yeah, I can't explain too much, but I will say that for future games, there will be different art styles.
Oh, cool.
And that journey across art styles is kind of in the same vein of what I just said. So, yeah. Can't say too much about it, but yeah.
Okay. Got it.
So,
Yeah.
any other questions?
No, those were the two questions.
Cool. Good stuff. Yeah, so we're going to be onboarding everyone in like the next 2 weeks. So keep an eye out for an email from us. Essentially, you will get an invite. You'll get probably a lengthy email with lots of good information, but you'll get an invite to the main workshop Discord.
Okay.
And we'll have a writing pipeline set up that'll be really transparent, lots of resources for that. Once you get in, it's pretty well structured into the different main components that kind of make a game come to life. So we have a design section, we have we have the artist avenue, the programming plaza, the gosh, I can't remember what the writing one was called. Let me go to that. We have the music mezzanine, the design depot, the coder cove, and the artist avenue. So design depot would be the writing channel. So lots of good information on all that stuff. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Until then, really excited that you're doing the creative out. Definitely don't hesitate to ask a question. I guess the best way to directly ask a question is you can either message us or you can at us in the questions channel.
Mm-hmm.
We've been kind of swamped over the last week with another project that we're working on, but we're getting back into the swing of answering questions. So don't hesitate to reach out.
Perfect.
Yeah, that pretty much wraps it up on my end. It was great talking to you.
You too. Thank you so much for your time.
Awesome. Yeah. Have a good rest of your day. Enjoy your
You too.
weekend.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.